We shall try this one more time. Good. Okay, so we're putting Reinhardt where he wants to go. With the speed, good.
5, 4, 3, 2.
He's probably set up at this point. Do you have any sort of rollout for hitting a boop here to knock someone off? Let's see.
This is gonna make you feel better.
Interesting. So, you might just not see them, but I'm a little surprised. Because you go across here.
This is gonna make you feel better.
So there's that Ana there that's like totally standing still, right?
Where?
At the top of the screen. So above your crosshair, you can see there is
Yeah, I see it's
Ana.
it's
Okay.
in.
Yep. So there's an Ana right here.
Oh, I know. Okay, yeah, okay.
All good. And there's also a Junkrat here. Junkrat's got a pillar in the way, and you're moving fast. Don't get me wrong. I'm not necessarily like, oh my goodness, how could you miss these things? But that Ana's standing still, and like putting a little bit of pressure on her, you're not going to finish her, but a little bit of pressure on her, making her consider, do I need to drop or do I need to walk back into the spawn room is going to make her go, oh shoot, I don't like this, and potentially make the rest of her team a little more vulnerable, just, gum up the works a little bit. So we'd really prefer that to a little bit of pressure on the front line here, but that's okay.
Oh.
And same thing there where they could be the junk. So, this is okay. I think you might be trying a little too hard to help your Reinhardt here. And what I mean by that is if he's actually going to go in here, that's fine. You can go with him. You can help him on the way. If you think this is just a fire strike that he's going for, you'd probably only go about this far and you'd keep using your weapon. You'd keep shooting here because your aura is going to reach a little bit, right? Like if we look at your Lucio, your aura reaches a bit. We can take advantage of the fact that the aura reaches. You don't have to like trace your Reinhardt step or anything. You can just be like, I'm going to shoot. He's getting speed for whatever he's off to go do here with his fire strike and come back, etc. If you think this is a real push, well, you can catch up to him real quick with your wall riding and go, okay, fine, I'll hop, I'll do this, whatever, because I want him to be fast on his rotation. I want it to surprise the opponents, whatever. Seems a little late for him to do that in the match, but okay.
Oh, cool.
Wall. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. I should be pressuring that Ana. You're right.
Yeah, no, like these guys are just
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
standing here up top. They're not really having to move very much, and they're getting a stable ability
Yeah,
to
they're
do
bunkered
more.
down pretty good. Yeah, I see it now.
And then you responded to what I assume was this nade with heal. Like, I see it, people are weak, don't get me wrong, I don't like it. But really, the only one of these that you're going to heal is, okay, yourself maybe, and Hammond, right? Like, who are we really getting with this amp heal that you're using? Okay, there's Ashe too, so maybe it makes sense. Maybe it's like, hey, I'll get a little bit more for myself, I'll heal these two. But if I'm using my amp, I mean, I think really what's causing the amp is you see that these guys are weak, and you're like, oh, I gotta use the amp. But what made these guys weak is the nade that you can't heal. So we gotta wait. We can amp after the nade, or we could try to maybe use the amp to dump someone in the water, but no one's really pushing across, so I don't want to do that yet. So this sucks, but I think we're probably just going to stay on speed here to help our Junkrat and Ana get out if they like close the angle, and then we can swap to heals once the purple's over, right?
Right.
Okay.
I could use some help. Yeah, let's move it, people.
So, like, your amp is over and you didn't get a chance to heal up the purple there. Just, that's how that works, just so we're aware. Oh, no. Okay, so this is just a crossfade failure. You're here, you go over here. You could either heal yourself up for a moment, or you could hop onto this onto this, and then try to sort of hop across, having used speed
Okay.
the whole time. But like, you're not just gonna walk across this. You're gonna be like, I'm hopping across this using wall jumps to speed myself up, or I'm hopping off of this one to get some speed, off of this one to get some speed, and trying to get as much across as possible. And then when you're in the air, you can swap to heals because you're already in the air and you already have your momentum, and it's not really going to change things. But you can't just do what you did here, which is you're half health, and you're now with speed trying to just or with heals actually, trying to walk across the net with speed to get over here. We wanted to use speed and the walls to get ourselves across and then swap to heals. We're in the air, swap to heals. Because yes, we did want to heal our team. We did want to get over here so that we could do that. But the way you did it was simply too dangerous. Okay.
I got.
Lucio's not going to let you do your shit
My
thing.
jam.
And then we didn't get to really play any of the boop game trying to knock them in because they pushed up while you were going across to heal your team. Okay. Oh, now you're going to try?
To the beat.
Yeah, so this is what happens when we're on the ground. Like, you do this. There's sort of a wall hop there. And then I don't want to go in on the ground like this. It's really kind of that simple. If I'm up on this wall, I come around here, which is a little bit of a different spot, and I potentially hop forward here onto this pillar, and then I'm looking for that boop. Or I'm here, and I come around just a little bit higher than normal, and then I can still hit that boop. She's not going to go out from a boop, but I can, shoot her, swap, flip around on this, shoot her some more, and then if she gets scared and retreats a little bit, maybe there's a boop to be had. This is just sort of, hey, I'm walking at you. I'm skating at you on the ground. Well, okay, but you skated at the ground on her through what's effectively a doorway, and that narrows her and narrows where she has to aim. You're doing it at the normal height, and that makes you easier to hit with a sleep dart.
Okay.
Let's continue. Oh, bye. Bye-bye.
I see. I see. I see what you mean.
Double
Now with
time.
some speed to bring our
Back in
Reinhardt
the
back.
Oh, yeah.
Probably not. So, if you look at how you got eliminated, you see how we can see this in the feed. You get eliminated, and right after you get eliminated, Reinhardt gets eliminated.
Oh man.
So that happens, and
Double time.
now you're in spawn, and you can press tab, and you can again see if you pull up your screen that, hey, my Reinhardt isn't yet alive. And if he like just got eliminated or something, so you'd have to wait a full 10 seconds, maybe you don't wait. But in this, he got eliminated like 2-3 seconds after you. It's probably worth just waiting for him with speed right here. Because here you'll be able to reach him with your aura when he spawns, or just about. He'll take a step and you'll reach him. And then he'll have your speed as he's advancing. And once he gets to here, he'll go for a pin. But what do you care? You'll then go, okay, he's going to get a little ahead of me with his pin, but I'll do some wall ride shenanigans as best I can to catch up a little bit. And then once we get here, I probably actually will catch up. So, like, you both get back faster. And you're not really interested in taking the fight. The instant you get back, you're going to probably wait for him anyways, right? He's Reinhardt, he's there. Okay, cool. So you get more total fights if you Lucio taxi him, is what we call that. Probably not worth. Is this teal for Ball or for Anna?
I mean, I think I was probably just trying to build up ult charts for some reason because I remember this choke and I wanted to contest it with a bear.
Sure.
So I think I was trying to build it up.
Sure. So beats are interesting. Beats are tough ult to get ult charge for. The reason it's tough to get ult charge for is it's tough to find the right times to heal. You do want to be healing mid-battle as Lucio a lot of the time. Speed is great for getting people around. Anytime people can get value out of speed, speed starts looking pretty good. But mid-battle, you sort of end up on heals. It's like you go, hey, we're actually in a poke phase type thing, that sort of thing. Heals potentially start making sense. But the thing that you run into with AMP with AMP specifically is, okay, this is AMP. If you use your AMP, it then goes, it lasts 3 seconds, and it goes on a 12-second cooldown. So this
Right.
wasn't really the fight itself, right? Your Reinhardt is still 2 seconds away from you guys being able to have the fight itself, right?
Right.
So now you're not going to have amp for the fight itself. So what actually ends up happening is sort of the best time to use amp heal to catch up an ult charge is actually going to be right after a one fight, which I know is challenging because you have to win the fight, etc. But right after you've wiped a team in a one fight, they're going to have a 10-second respawn timer, right?
Uh-huh.
And then it's going to take them 10 seconds plus some travel time. So you win a fight and then you amp heals is sort of, or you used an amp maybe for speed, maybe for heals in the middle of the fight, whatever, because you had something specific you wanted to do with it. Maybe you guys got TNT'd and rather than get wiped out. What's that? Okay.
No, I didn't say anything.
Got it. I heard feedback maybe. Maybe your team got hit by a TNT and you go, oh shoot, and you use amp heals to recover. Maybe a big fire strike hit three of you and you go, oh no, we're going to use amp heals to recover. Amp heals can be good for recovering from those sorts of mistakes mid-combat, being like, no, let me stabilize a fight that we were starting to lose, that had sort of started to go wrong, or let me use amp speed to take advantage of a mistake that they made, to to consolidate an opening, to follow up on an opening, a small mistake they made, or an ult that we hit, or something like that. That's generally how you're going to use amp in combat. And then after fights, you actually intentionally look to go, hey, so I don't fall too far behind on beat, because beat takes a long time to charge up. I'm actually really intensely looking after we've won for an opportunity to amp heals, to just sort of be like, in fact, if the other support would let me amp heals rather than scoop up healing ult charge, that would be great because you do want to keep up. The other piece of getting ult charges, of course, is weapon play, but that's sort of how you end up thinking about using amp heal to catch up on ult charge as a after we've won the fight type situation. If we use it here, we might be going, oh, well, we have to wait because Junkrat, so all that. I don't actually think we're going to wait for Junkrat. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think once we have Reinhardt, we're probably actually going to take this fight. So you're not going to have amp if, let's say, for example, your Reinhardt hits a shatter. You would like to be able to pop amp speed to make sure you get the most follow-up on that possible, right?
Right.
If they're Junkrat, I don't know, ricochets a big nade in here or something like that, ricochets a couple nades in here, and you see a couple people get weak and they're in danger of pressing you, you'd like to push amp heals to be like, no, 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 it's not an opening, you're not allowed to just push us with impunity, etc. But you won't be able to. Now, I don't hate this amp heal, and the reason I end up not hating this amp heal is because your Ana is missing health too, and healing her is pretty nice.
Oh,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
much rather
I noticed
heal.
that.
What's that?
Oh yeah, I just saw the cross there, and I was like, okay, I can rack up. But I hadn't noticed the animals
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Healing Ana is actually pretty nice because she needs the peel. I don't know that I want to amp just for her when she's at like 70% HP, but this is better than actually healing the ball. The other thing you run into is amp doesn't actually heal tanks for very much. Do you know how much amp heals for?
It's 30 HPS, and but I mean the passive is 30 HPS, but the amp I think is up to 50 maybe, or a little bit more than that.
No, that's higher than it is. Let me pull it up just so that we're looking at the same thing. And we are looking at, okay, so
60
regular
maybe.
healing is 16 health per second,
Yeah,
and then amp healing is for allies 52 health per second. So like there's
yeah.
some amount of healing, 52 health per second, at least that's what the wiki is saying right now. That's some amount of healing that is like, oh yay, we healed our tank, but like that's gonna be 156 healing for your Hammond. That's gonna be a 12-second cooldown, longer in some ways, to get 156 healing to your Hammond. Does your Hammond has 600 HP? Like that's not very much, and you're spending a big cooldown to get it, right?
Right.
So that's impactful on someone like Ana, Ashe, potentially yourself, though it heals you for less, Junkrat. Like that's impactful if you're healing a lot of people with it. But if you're just healing a tank, well, you just really can't heal him. And this is why Hammond operates around health packs. Hammond is sort of expected to fend for himself to go get health packs. And if someone was going to spend like real effort healing him up, it would be your Anna. Even your Anna, it would take forever to heal him up, by the way. But you're kind of like, yay, I healed him for 150 HP. And will he even stay in range of the aura? So like, really is it impactful? And he's not necessarily wrong to leave the aura because he can heal faster going and getting health packs with his extreme speed. You follow where I'm going with this?
Oh yeah, because
Okay.
that's how he operates in the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we want to be a little not like it's not like we're afraid to amp tanks, like, oh, that's terrible or anything. It hurts them, but we really are sort of like they're secondary considerations when it comes to amp. We're generally not going to amp to heal tanks unless we're getting a lot of value in that amp healing other people as well. Good.
Yeah, time to heal up. Everything up. I'm under attack.
Okay. So you just turned purple. Can you be on heal, Laura?
Oh yes.
You
No,
just
I can't be on heal up because I can't heal myself
you
during
got it.
purple field.
You got it. Might as well be on speed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is going to hurt.
Oh,
The payload
time to
has reached the
accelerate.
checkpoint. Start your engines.
Sure.
Let's get that stuff. Oh, turn it up.
Sure. Okay, so you just didn't get quite what you wanted there in terms of the direction. You're trying to pop around and you just popped off a little more than you wanted to, and that's just a mechanical thing. You'll get to it.
This.
Okay. So I don't mind that you got hit by a nade here, but ultimately, this bridge isn't a very good place to play on. If this is what your team has decided to do, oh well, it's ladder. You can go ahead and choose to do so. But why isn't this a great place for you to play?
There's like no cover and there's no line of sight, and you can get uh, environmentally killed easily depending on the enemy team. I guess
Right,
it's pretty
right.
open, I guess.
Right, like you've got no walls to ride on or anything, and there's no cover. It's just not particularly fun. So what you end up doing, and also if you guys just retreat, you're gonna end up holding somewhere like here, somewhere like here, and these are both harder for the opponents to push into. This is just bad for both sides, right? Like this isn't a good side for them either, right?
Right.
Now, you could, if you controlled up here, go, we're going to, shoot you from high ground as you're rotating across the bridge. That would be pretty cool. You guys kind of missed the window to do that, and you weren't really going to have a chance this game because you late contested over here. But after they get this checkpoint, if you can get your team to, it would be better to pull your speed team back. And I don't know how much of your team is going to listen to you. I don't know how much of them are in comms. But after this checkpoint went off, in Overwatch, when most carts hit checkpoints, you'll notice how they pause for a few seconds before they get going
Yeah.
again. You
Yeah.
kind of want to take advantage of that time usually to go, well, getting eliminated on cart, stopping cart doesn't have value anymore. So let's try and pull people out. If we can get people to leave, if we can go back, and we can use speed or amp speed to help pull them out to get them out, cool. Then they have time potentially to set up on these spots, and we can take a real better fight than this one right here. So if you can recognize lost fights, and if you think there's people that will leave, you can help them leave and sort of go do that, rather than this where you lost the fight, they got the checkpoint, and now you're sort of fighting it again or continuing it to fight here, and that's just sort of unfortunate.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah, let's move it, people. I am loving this.
So this is okay, and now I hope you turn around and go get people. Because we see that, oh look, these two people spawned right behind us, and we're missing two people, and we didn't really get trades with the opponent if we'd been paying attention to the feed when we revived. Did any red people get eliminated?
No. I mean, yeah, no.
So
Lost. Yeah.
So we probably don't want to be up there yet, because if we're up there right now, we're not going to be able to take the fight. If we'd eliminated some of the people in the other team, then us rejoining the fight as quickly as possible might make sense, because it might be like a 4v3 that we were joining to even up to make a 4v4, that it made sense for our team to still be in. But at best, this fight is a 6v4 right now that we're probably just not winning, right? And the reality is Anna has already left this fight. This is not what the fight is. Yes?
Yes.
So we instead are better off waiting for these guys and then bringing them forward with speed, maybe even using an amp because we're a fair distance away and we should have it mostly back in time, so that we can actually take the fight sooner. And by sooner, I mean, yes, sooner in a time standpoint, but also before this cart has moved as much. Because we really want to take this fight like here-ish. That would be good for us. And right now, we'll probably still do that, but these guys have a decent chance of being late to the party. And we didn't really get anything out of not waiting for them, right?
Right.
Not an earlier stop or anything. Okay.
Fire in the hole! You're
Oh,
on,
you
dude.
chose not to go after him. Interesting. So that's
Yeah,
the Junkrat.
I should have done him. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he was just immediately going to blow up his tire if you went after him too directly. So, like, what you could have done, I mean, yeah, you should have. You could have actually shot right at him or his tire and been like, well, it's going to hurt you or it's going to hurt your tire if your tire spawns, etc. And that might have had some value. But then you probably, depending on how tricky you wanted to get, you could either just try and dive him, like literally just dive him, but you're probably not going to get him eliminated or his tire eliminated before he blows up. But you could try to be a little more tricky. If I drop, I literally spin around this sort of thing, and then I try and hop back up, go across, and then hop back up here and eliminate him, because his tire will have probably
Okay.
started to go somewhere, etc. Or it might try to follow you when you're pretty slippery. Now he can still catch you for
Right.
sure, but like at least you got a chance if you do that. You, I think, chose to run away, which I understand, but you chose to run away. I say, the fake runaway would have been better than the actual runaway. Now it's just like he's going to win this fight. Like he's going to maybe not win this fight, but he's going to get an elimination with his tire. And then he doesn't. Okay. We don't need to chase Ball to heal him. Good, good.
Oh, turn it up.
Horns and Crusaders!
Oh, let's break it. Damn!
Unfortunate. So
Horns and
I like this.
Oh, let's break it.
And I would have
Damn!
liked amp, which you did. So like I like the amp and I like the speed, but why do we need beat right here?
I thought when we were ulting, or we can combine ult to make sure we get the most value out of his, so to kind of wipe the team. I thought that's what we're doing, because I guess we were all positioned that we had the another teammate there on the left, and I thought we had numbers, so I thought we could have wiped him right there.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
so
Well, we might be able to wipe them, but if we think we can wipe them, we probably actually, like, we want to win the fight, but how do I want to put this? We do want to win this fight, but I look at this and go, hey, we hit our shatter. You could decide that the shatter isn't enough. We're still in danger of this fight being 50-50 or losing. You could totally decide that. But the way I look at this, I then go, okay, if we're concerned that we're in danger of, how do I want to put this? It's okay to combine some ults. Like, it's okay to go, I'm going to beat to protect a barrage. Like, that's, for example, could make sense. I'm going to beat to protect a blossom, something along those lines. But this is Reinhardt. Who's in danger here? Reinhardt just put 3 of these 4 players on the ground, and he's at full health, and he has 500 health. Is Reinhardt in any danger here?
no,
What's that?
I said no, he isn't.
Right. So, like, he can spend his health. Let's say that you still are ready to use beat to win this fight. So, like, if Reinhardt gets in any trouble, you're going to beat to protect him. It's a little annoying because this barrier is here, and this barrier will block your beat. You can actually beat and then walk through the barrier as you beat, and you'll get both sides, or you could be over here and beat and get both sides of the barrier quite fine, but barrier does have an extended application time, so if you beat and then slide through it, you know, sort of within half a second or so, a third of a second or so, it'll apply barrier to people on both sides. So, or this could break because this is pretty flimsy, but I don't know that Ash and Anna and you are going to break it in time. But the way you'd look at this is beat, your health falls off pretty rapidly when you beat, right? Like you get a bunch
Right.
of health, but then it falls off pretty rapidly. Okay, so do we want to have a bunch of extra health while people are lying on the ground?
No, not necessarily. No.
Right, so I want Reinhardt to go hard, and you could shout, push, 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 I'll beat. But then you don't actually beat until later. Like let me use an example. Let's pretend that you were pushing one beat into another beat. So let's say that your team is no, I'll just do it like this. If your Reinhardt pushes in and swings hard here, that's fantastic. We want everyone to follow up hard on this shatter. But then you can beat if he gets down to half health and still be quite confident that you're going to save him. Yes?
Yes, I see.
If you beat right now, the opponents are like almost certainly going to recognize there's no way we can win this, and as soon as they can, they're going to start to run away. If you don't beat right now, they're probably still going to start to run away, but if they're running away, they're probably not bringing your Reinhardt down to a level where that barrier is really helping him, right? Like if your opponents are running away, does beat help you?
No, it doesn't because they're out of the
Right.
range of
So
effective.
we
Yeah.
sort of need to pull them in, bait them in, be like, hey, if he gets low, I'll beat him. Or if I decide that we need more brawling power, which is again sort of going to be if he gets low, I'll beat him. So I'm not saying wait until he's 10% health or anything like that, but you can go, it's generally better to stagger ults that aren't particularly combo ults than it is to stack them. Some ults have real combo value. Like, hey, Nano Blade, obviously Nano is a good ult for comboing. Hey, if you'd set up some situation where you put a window over here, a BAP window over here, and a high noon over here, and the enemy team was in the center here, maybe that would have some value. You actually wouldn't need that because either one would take them out. So a better example would be, let's say you put a, let's say you set up a window over here and a high noon over here. Well, the place that they might naturally go from cover from this is, we'll run from the cover and the high noon still gets them type thing. So, like, there's ults that have combo value where they're actually doing nice different things, where it's like, hey, they're threatening different areas, or you could get away with, like, a Graviton Dragon Strike, right? Like, Grav plus Dragon Strike. Okay, that makes sense. That's getting some combo value. It's hard to make Dragon work otherwise. Beat and Shatter, like, you're kind of doing the same thing at the same time. So we'd rather stagger those to have a longer period of being powerful than and determine, we can decide, do we need to add more ult? Do we need to add another ult each time the first ult ends? Okay?
I see.
Cool. So you'd go like this. And then if you felt the need, here, you'd have beat it. And
Right.
great, and you might have had to beat a little earlier because Reinhardt might have lost at this health a little bit sooner than he was. But then your power play, your window of being more powerful than the other team is extended instead of, well, I don't know, you probably shed 200-300 health just because the blue health fades so fast while the opponents were still getting up and couldn't shoot at you.
Oh, okay.
And you're trying so hard to heal him right here, but you just can't. So speed would have been better. Okay. Unfortunate.
Nano. Yeah. I see what you mean. That fight could have gone totally differently.
Potentially, yeah.
Wow. That's perspective. Jeez.
All good. Lucius takes a little bit of thinking before it makes sense.
I had him too, but apparently not. Yes. Wow. Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying like you don't think. It's just until you've specifically spent time thinking about, wait, how do I use it like this? And you just haven't had a reason to wrinkle your brain like that quite yet.
Yeah, exactly. Totally.
Okay. happening. The tire's going. We probably don't want to be retreating while the tire's going. Maybe you're going to pick up Reinhardt right now. I don't know. But if we have an ult going in the form of tire, just like if we have an ult going in the form of shatter, we don't really want to run away because the opponents right now are looking around frantically for a tire, or they're running from it. They're either trying to run from it, split up, or they're trying to aim at it and shoot at it. They're trying to deal with the tire right now. So do they have the attention to spare for you?
No, not necessarily. I think in this case, I think I was more or less looking for my team because I think I had you in my brain saying, "Where's your team? Where's your team?" or something like that.
Got it.
So I think that's why I was actively trying to wall ride and trying to get everybody in,
Yep.
I guess my line of sight or something.
Yep, and that makes sense.
But I don't know. I don't know where they were.
The truth is, yeah, no. The truth is, Ash is contributing right here. Junkrat is contributing right here. Moira's definitely a bit far away, and Reinhardt's not back yet. So, like, and Hammond is off doing Hammond things in the spawn room. Hammond was here with you a second ago. But what
Okay.
you run into is that's fine to go, hey, I need to know where my team is. I don't want to be in while my team's not in. This tire probably went in part because you were in type thing, and we do want to adjust to the new reality that the tire's going in.
Oh,
Because the tire is
okay.
like, your team is starting a fight. If an ult gets used, the fight is pretty real, right? Like, you might try to disengage if the opponents are using an ult, but if your team is using an ult, you generally want to be going. In fact, your team using an ult is almost like, I should be on speed. Should I amp speed even to make my team go faster, etc.? You're kind of alone, but you do have enough going on with that you probably wanted to more be in for this. But that's okay. So sort of backwards. Here you are. You're amping heals now for some reason. The amp was just a little weird in general because you didn't have people around you. Now you're up in the air, and that's good. You can't really control your momentum when you're fully in the air like this. Like, you get a little bit of control as Lucio, but you can't really do anything here. Like, you're going to mostly go at the speed that you were going, so this speed isn't really helping, so we'd have preferred heal time while we're in the air. Once we're here, we
Okay.
could swap back to speed because that actually changes our speed, right? We're on the ground, we actually have movement control, but air time is actually pretty good for heals once you get there.
Okay. I got it. That's what happened. Exactly how you described. Jeez.
Nerf this.
Almost like you're predicting what's going to happen, like before
Hope
even.
nobody saw that.
I have seen a lot of hours of Overwatch.
Right. It's crazy.
Move to the beat. Heal up.
Okay. Just sort of deciding where to go, what to do.
Damn.
Probably not our favorite amp.
Yeah, time to heal up.
Sure. Okay.
This.
So is this amp happening because you guys used Bob? Is this amp happening because there's teammates around you that it's affecting? Like, what are you doing with this amp?
I think there's because there's Bob and there's people under me, and
Okay.
I guess going other people under me.
There's enemies under you. Sadly, your aura doesn't help them. Or maybe it's a good thing it doesn't, but hey. Okay, so not a big deal. The general reaction of we're using ult, so we probably want to be on speed is good. We want to think a little more closely about specifically our amp, because our amp is a commitment. It's frequently right to use amp during ults. More so, well, not more so. Specifically, that's going to be because you want to move your team in to follow up on something, and you're not really with your team right now, and they're not excuse me, close enough to be affected by it. So that's the sort of thing where we just need a little more awareness of what's going on. We could either stay in and try to do work while Bob's doing stuff, boot people into Bob's line of sight, Ash's line of sight, etc. Or we could say, oh, am I going to go back and get Reinhardt type thing? But I'm perfectly happy staying in. I'm just not going to use amp unless I'm getting some value out of it right now. And I don't think you're doing anything in particular with this amp. I don't think you're getting any different wall rides because of this amp or diving someone particularly hard, right?
Right.
Okay.
Audio better. Oh. Time to accelerate. Oh, turn it up.
She just remexed, so it was probably full health. Probably want to be speed here for dodging around. Yep.
Up the tempo. Let's get next up.
So the speed mostly
get
made
patched
sense to
up.
me here, and now you're going for heals. But who needs these heals? Who are you aware of that needs this amp heal right now?
I think I was probably just anticipating because they had a shield there and there was a lot of spam coming in. So I guess I probably just reflexively did it. But honestly, I don't think I was paying attention.
Sure.
I
Yeah, no,
saw.
you probably amped in response to their beat. I get it. So yeah, when they use an ult, okay, I can live with this. Usually when they use an ult like this, what you're gonna respond with is you're gonna respond with probably trying to kite that ult, right? Probably with speed. Like, hey, if you guys are ulting, we don't want to fight you yet. We want to back up and sort of wait for your ult to wear itself out. We saw how fastly, that's a word, how fast beat loses the barrier, how fast HP falls off. So usually we'd kite it. But you're right that you can't hear, so maybe you're trying to make the best of it and amp heals. Unfortunately, I don't really think your team is ready for amp heals to help them yet, but okay.
Check this out. Let's break it. Damn.
Okay.
Nothing to the. Oh, let's break it. Damn.
Okay, if we just used beat and gave everyone a bunch of temporary extra health here, do they need healing?
Yeah, no, this is something I've been trying to clean up.
Okay.
I've been, reflexively doing that. It's been a bad habit of mine, so
Okay.
yeah, I've been trying to
No
clean
problem.
that up.
No problem. Try to make sure it's speed. There's the very rare situation where it makes sense to try to heal them under there so that they continue to so that they're not just paper when beat ends. But the vast majority of the time, it makes sense to be on speed almost no matter what when you
And when
apply
I
a beat like
first
this.
started playing this game, I had no idea that they get a shield. So I always reflexively put it on healing. I was playing quick play forever and I had no clue. So
All good.
only recently. So it was a bad habit I need to break, honestly. So yeah.
Okay.
Nothing to the stop.
That's a little weird. You're here, you see that Junkrat's trying to run away. Your team looks pretty good now, right?
Yeah.
So we're Lucio, we can go really fast between speed and wall rides, and we're actually pretty good at getting around and preventing people from getting out and helping staggers. Like this Junkrat would like to leave right now. He's throwing nades, and he'd probably like to leave and get away and then push back in with his team, right?
Right.
But we're Lucio, and we're not gonna leave and go check on our team right now. Like, yeah, there's a Reaper here, but is your team gonna lose to a Reaper at this point? There's 4 of them back here. So I want to be greedy. I want to go up here and be like, nope, either I eliminate him from behind or I boop him from behind to slow down his escape because someone from my team is probably going to chase him and try to stagger him too. You see where I'm going with this?
I got it.
Okay. And it's good that our Ash got him, but we could have made that more certain.
Yeah, time to heal up.
10 seconds.
Check this out. This will heal you. Ahí, sí. Let's hustle.
So that's a little late for that amp. That was sort of the between fight amp that we were talking about. You just sort of like did it, you know,
Push on.
sooner. Because you see these guys are sort of close to being back.
0.
Got it.
Ready for battle. See them out in person. But I will see them done.
Nothing's gonna stop me.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Escort the payload.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was going for a cheeky play.
Yep.
This is like,
You were, but
Okay.
I just don't think there's enough reward for this cheeky play. Like, you're here and you're going to boop them out from behind their barrier. But if you boop them out from behind the barrier in this direction, they just go this way. And are they vulnerable to your team if they get knocked this way?
no.
So, if you're going to do something that's really annoying to this team, like booping them back sort of helps because it makes it easier for your team to cross this, right? Hey, that's cool. You could do that. You could go, I'm going to boop you guys back because then they don't have as good sightlines for shooting at my team for a second, but they're going to take these sightlines back really quickly. So maybe that's not amazing. Your other option is, okay, maybe I right up over here and I actually try to boop you guys forward through your shield, and then maybe my team gets lucky and eliminates you or something like that. That's an option. But probably what we're really looking at here rather than that is there anyone on high ground that you can dump off of high ground?
No. Junkrat's in there pretty good. So
Right.
no, not.
Right. So that's okay. So instead we're just going to go, we can go do this rollout, go try to maybe do a boot plan these guys, but we might have been better off just speeding here, or we might have been better off just being like, well, forget you guys, I'm going to play from an angle and I'm going to spam you guys from up here. I'm going to spam you guys from up here type thing, but where, you know, hey, if you pay attention to me, you're not paying attention to my team. Or maybe spam
Got
you from
it.
here, where I'm sort of leaving aura for my team, but if I don't like the pressure I'm taking, I just drift left and I'm safe type thing. And then if it had turned out there was Nash up here or something, or she pops up there or whatever, okay, fine, I'll hop over and I'll dump her off the high ground. Or if Junkrat comes out, maybe I'll dump him off the high ground. But that's okay.
Oh, okay.
That was just too hard of a dive. It's just the reality there.
I got it. Yeah, that's good info. Okay.
Back in the middle. Gonna make you feel better. Let's hustle. Oh, time to accelerate. Up the road.
This was just sort of nothing.
get you
Like,
healed
you're
up.
just sort of here, you like doing this,
Up
now
the
you're like, I'm
volume.
gonna amp heals again. I don't care that you're Reinhardt. I mean, an amp heals is probably enough to heal your Reinhardt to full at this point, but like it's not a very good use of your resources, right? We'd much rather let BAP do that than spend our big cooldown on healing Reinhardt at 150 HP.
Right.
Okay. So we probably don't do this. If we're pushing, we probably don't walk in front of where our Reinhardt was standing because they were probably shooting at him.
Yeah, it's a,
Yeah. All good. All good. That's why we like the walls. And you've done a good job of liking the walls. You've done a good job of trying to mix in the walls, trying to do some of that. I can see you're trying to use the walls, which is better than what we sometimes get from Lucio players who are in the metal ranks.
oh wow. Okay.
Okay. So I see what you're doing here, and I like this. Okay, I'll go show you how long you were here.
Speed boost.
You tried to do this. You tried to amp your team in. I'm not convinced that they want to go this way anymore.
That's more like it.
And you're doing some work here. Cool. And now you have a decision to make. I'm fine with you being on speed, especially while you're full health.
Push on.
But now you've taken some damage and you have a decision to make. Is speed the better defense or is heals the better defense? Or is some mix of them the better defense? And the answer is
Sorry,
probably...
man.
What's that?
Oh, wow. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, no problem. The answer is probably going to be some mix of them. It actually makes your movement more predictable when you change speeds by going back and forth. I'm not telling you to just rapidly spam your crossfade and just spam it no matter what, but you're at 130 health. You do this, now you're at 112, now you're at 94, now you're at 96, and now you swap over to heals and you heal whatever. We could have continued to probably bounce around here for, just another second or so before this diva came in, because she came in pretty quick. Maybe she came in a second there, but we probably wanted to be thinking, okay, I took a little damage. I probably do want to get a little time on speed. I might be a little more passive with or on heals. I might get a little more passive while I'm doing those heal peaks, whatever. Might do a gentle peak instead of some of the bigger peaks that you did, and sort of get some of that health back. Ultimately, though, this was just sort of over, and you going back is fine.
Gonna make you feel better.
Okay. A little scary to just be on the ground here. Who's winning this fight right now?
We are.
Right. And they're trying to retreat. You see how they're trying to back out right here?
Yes.
Your team might not recognize it, and if your team doesn't go, there's nothing you can do about it. But you want a speed to try and help your team catch this Torb and Baby Diva to make sure they don't get out, right? Like, here you are. Your team is missing some health, so heals aren't going to hurt them, don't get me wrong. But I think I want to be greedy. I want them to get more eliminations more than I want to heal them right now. I want to go, hey, let's speed, let's run, let's push the team. Now, your team might go, no, what's the objective? We're going to stay on the objective no matter what, in which case you'd be right to stay on heals if that's what they do. But we really would like to go chase this down. In fact, in the spirit of liking to chase this down, what am I going to tell you should do? Because you would like to get some staggers right now.
Probably wall ride or probably flank or
Yeah, so swap to speed, wall ride one of these ways to try to get past these guys as best you can, and then just hit a boop to get them back. And if you don't think you can get past Torb, so be it. Get over here and boop Diva back. Because, she's going to back up as you're going to wall ride in their general direction, but you should be able to get past at least one of them and boop them back in and make their escape harder, right? Make your team more likely to get the elimination. That's how you get your assists in a lot of ways, is Lucio, right? Okay. So, now you're out here fighting them from the front, which isn't quite what we want to do. We sort of wanted to get past them and boop them back in, but okay. Sure. So amp heals isn't the right answer to a self-destruct coming in. Speed is the right answer to a self-destruct coming in from the other team, because you can't heal people through self-destruct. You can only get people out of line of sight, which speed is the tool for.
Oh, let's break it. Damn! Oh, let's break it. Damn!
Okay. So what's the problem here?
It's on heal again, and that's number one. My problem, and
I don't care as long as you immediately switch it to speed after you finish beating. But yeah, that would be good, being on speed. What's the bigger problem?
honestly, I'm not able to see what
Sure.
the other problem.
Sure. How many people did you get with this beat?
Oh, my team is around.
Yep.
Yeah, just me.
Yeah. Well,
Just
it
to
actually
maybe
did.
mid-line.
It did get you Reinhardt. It's like, nope, you've got line of sight on him, but this isn't really going to work for us. Like, you're like, ah, yes, I'm beating to protect us because they're ulting, they have a tire going, they have this going. Beat's only going to work to protect people from a tire if it goes off right before the tire gets triggered, right before the tire explodes. So it's actually hard to use beat as an answer to tire. I wouldn't necessarily
Okay.
recommend that. Um, and it sort of lets your team go, okay, well, we're going to brawl super hard. We're going to push really hard. We'll just try to win and force them to use the tire immediately, something along those lines. But can your team really brawl particularly hard right now? Can your team use this beat offensively?
Um,
And it didn't get most of them, and it doesn't work against tire unless you use it right before the tire explodes, and he kind of picks when the tire explodes. So, all in all, not really going to be a very useful beat for your team here, right?
right.
And that's unfortunate because beat takes so long to charge up. So this isn't like, oh, how dare you use your beat? This is terrible, etc. But this is just more in the territory of we do want to, it's a big impactful ult, but it's easy to accidentally throw it away, and that's kind of what happened here. So we're just going to pay a little more attention to, can we get my teammates? Can my teammates get value out of this beat? Are they already in a fight that they're brawling? Are they in a situation where it's going to save someone from getting eliminated because, say, they're about to get pinned and you beat right before they get pinned, or you beat right before self-destruct blows up that someone wasn't going to be able to escape from, something like that. Did it save a life? Did it allow your team to continue heavy brawling when they already were and the opponents can't kite it very well? Did it, save people who got shattered who were about to get cleaned up? Those are the sorts of things we're looking for with our beat. This one, just not a great we don't have anything great that we can, like, our team's probably going to lose this fight, but there's really not much our beat can do about that, so we'd save it for the next one.
Up the tempo. Check it. Enemy turret ahead. I'm under attack. Enemy turret destroyed. Gonna make you feel better.
Okay. You're amping heals. I'm not totally sure what for, because this is really just healing your ball, right?
Yeah, I think I had the reflexively.
Yeah, you see the cross and you go for heals.
Yeah.
Yep, I get it. Just doesn't heal him very much, but also there's something interesting here. He just dropped his minefield. So if your team is ulting, what do you probably want to be on?
Speed.
Yep.
Yeah. That was a good ult, actually, right in the middle there.
And now this got dropped, that supercharger, and what does that supercharger do?
Yeah, it powers up everyone. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a good ult by ball.
Oh yeah, no. It's a good. Well, she responded to the mines with supercharger. Actually, the supercharger came second. It was a good ult by Hammond. I don't have serious issue with the ult by Hammond, except that the team isn't fully as in this as I'd like. Your team isn't quite like, these two aren't going to contribute to this fight yet, so his timing's a bit early. Reinhardt's here because he was waiting on these two, I presume. He could have been ready, but he chose not to be because he was waiting on these two. He didn't expect Ball to interact to go in this hard, but Ball did. So now you do have a decision to make. That supercharger is really powerful, right?
Right.
Plus 50% damage for everyone it can reach, but it's pretty fragile. And you're in this place right now where you're slippery, you're hard to shoot at. Everyone's probably reacting to the minefield. You've probably got a second or so where you can shoot at this supercharger with basically impunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's break the supercharger. Like, let's look at this. We'd like to be on speed, potentially. Maybe that helps our ball out. It'll certainly help him out more than heals will. It helps us out a little bit because it lets us move a little bit faster, and healing isn't helping us while we're at full health. So let's not like stay standing plotted in the right here or something. But if we could go like drift this way, either drift out to go here, drift out to go to this wall, and maybe ride our way up to here, something, so that, and while we're doing those things, we want to break this supercharger. We want to be shooting at that to end this ult while we've got, like, breaking this ult is a priority. And we just left, and now we kind of just have to wait out the ult. And oh look, now there's another chance. And are we on the ult? Okay, well, Reinhardt and Junkrat took care of the ult. So that's good, but we could have made that a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Okay, we can't actually save him with heals. You can try. You can try your little heart out, but helping him rotate out faster so he takes less damage is usually going to be more useful than the Reinhardt. Okay. She's immune to knockbacks when she's gold like that. Okay. So you're not really close to anyone, you're not really taking advantage of speed, and neither is your team, so even though you're full health right now, this is what we call a poke phase. If you guys are going to go push into them or something, or push to try to punish that Torb or to break the turret, that's fine, but I think what you guys are going to do is you're just sort of going to peek and unpeek cover, and shoot at this turret and shoot at the other team. Is that a fair assumption?
Yes. Sure.
So if that's what's going on, we would call it a poke phase. And in poke phases, you are better off being on heal aura, even when people are full health in most situations.
All right.
Good. And now we're back on speed. Okay, your ball's going in. You can be on speed if you want. You can be on speed to help go catch. Yep. Yeah. Sure. And now we're going to heal for a sec to catch up while we're not in line of sight. Great. Oh boy. I probably didn't want to just drop here. I potentially could have hopped out this window, but I wanted to sort of glue myself to this and just have this nice firing platform to shoot from. Or I could have just stayed up here and not wall road and just used this firing platform to shoot from. The only reason I'd want to jump down was if I actually thought I could see a boop to put someone into the water and... Maybe you thought you could get Moira. I understand why you're jumping out, because you don't like that this diva is following you, but your solution to this diva following you is, again, just jumping out here and wall riding, and now you've broken line of sight on her, but you're also in a place where no one out here, enemy-wise, is going to look at you, right? They're not going to look oh yeah, let's go finish off the Lucio that's hiding behind this sign up there. Like, no, yeah, it's... Yeah.
I got it.
Whereas now, you're sort of in the middle of their team, they're more likely to deal with you.
This is gonna make you feel better.
Yeah. Again, you sort of booped that Orisa away, and that's the opposite of what we want. You also can't really do this. Yeah. So this is just too aggressive. You're doing this, and I like that you're going up here and diving someone. Like, that's got some potential, especially when it looked like your Hammond was going in too. But now you've been Discord orbed.
That's not right.
You see, yeah. So now it's just sort of like, okay, I don't like this at all, so I'm gonna duck in here and clear it, or I'm gonna leave, and then this guy has to pick, or if you'd realize it faster, you could have left over here. But you don't want to dive a Zen who's pre-Discord orbed you, because he just takes you down too fast. You can get the jump on Zen and fight him, but if he's pre-Discord orbed you, nah, you just leave with the Discord orb, and then he's got to move it to ball, and then maybe you come back in and help. But if you've got the Discord orb, you taking the Discord orb is enough of a contribution. Your ball can handle Zen now. Now, your ball probably can't handle Zen plus Junkrat, but like, this is still the max you can contribute. You can't try to dive him while you're Discorded, because you just get deleted too fast.
Yeah, I know. Zen's like my best character. I know better.
There you go. Just watch out for that purple tint to your screen.
Oh yeah.
Let's hustle. I hope nobody saw that.
Payload's on the way.
This is my will. Let's get patched up.
I don't think so.
That's more like it.
Sure.
I am loving this. Move to the beat. Oh, this is my jam.
Who is this amp for?
Oh, this is
Reflexive.
my jam.
Yeah, I gotta
Okay.
clean that up. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
The power of destruction.
Okay, we'll beat for the next fight, and we've probably got 3 fights in us. Maybe 2. Probably wasn't willing to amp there because I don't think we're waiting 13 seconds before the next fight.
Oh, let's break it down.
Okay. So I don't know how good the comp situation is, but we look at this, and with our comp situation, it looks like our team is pushing, okay, but now Reinhardt starts to back up. You have a diva in his face, that's fair. You guys should be able to take out this diva, as long as she doesn't get away. Yeah, you're beated while fighting the diva, okay. That's a reasonable beat. And then they answer with Transcendence. And we beat during the ult shenanigans. And we're gonna get behind them and break that supercharger. Good, supercharger's gone. Yeah, we were gonna swap to heals, or swap to speed because we're full. Definitely don't need to be amping heals while we're full health. Okay. One more fight. You got this. If it goes long, maybe you get beat.
Our time runs short. We must increase our efforts.
This is gonna make you feel better.
Unfortunate. So you see you actually just sort of cheated yourself a
make you
little bit
feel
here.
better.
We can't really see your range, but you know now that it does, we covered the 50-something health per second, and she's at like 12 health right now, right? Probably less.
Right.
And you pop amp heals, and her health isn't moving, and her health isn't moving, and her health isn't moving, and now her health is moving. Amp lasts for 3 seconds, and we probably wasted 2 of those before she got any value from it. So just a little out of range, and you can actually see that. You might be going, well, how do I do this? How do I know?
This is gonna
You
make
see that
feel
number
better.
in the middle of your screen that says 1 right there?
Yeah.
That's how many people are being
Oh,
affected by your
yeah.
aura currently. Yep. And you
Yeah,
pop
I remember that.
speed. Yeah. Or maybe it's how many additional people. But it's not getting her. It's not getting her. Now it's getting her and I guess it's getting your Junkrat too, which is fine. But what we're looking at here is if you really felt the need of, oh, I need to heal her, you use speed to get closer. Even if you amped speed for 1 second or half a second to get closer to her, so you could swap to heals and heal her more, that could potentially be fine. But you want to use speed to get to the places that you need to heal people. Okay.
That's not right.
No.
That's not right.
You're discorded,
Bob's ready.
so you're not going to re-peek. Because if you re-peek, now he has line of sight on you again, so that actually refreshed his Discord timer. You remember how Discord works because you play Zen. If you can't see someone for 3 seconds, it falls off. You could have let that fall off, and then he'd have been in the middle of charging a right click, so he can't re-Discord orb you when you do peek. But you re-peeked, so now the Discord stays on you. Stays on you.
10 seconds.
What happened?
Yeah, let's move it, people.
Oh, do you want to know what happened while you got eliminated there?
No, I'm just saying I forgot what.
Oh, how the game goes. Got it.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Get into position.
Yeah, let's move it, people. Oh, let's break it.
Sure. Speed. So I don't love this. You're doing this and you're trying to heal from here and you're thinking, oh yeah, but you and your ball are both sort of stacked here. And yeah, I think you're staying here because you're worried about the cart and it's a place that you can work from. Um,
And the goop that was down there, I didn't want to.
yeah, I probably would have said, like, no, it's not fair of me to ask you this. At a higher level, you'd look to ring around the rosy on this pillar and do this because it's sort of giving you a bit more of a cross direction. Like you're over here, your ball's over here. This team's energies or effectively focus is in this general direction. You being able to ring around the rosy here for that would have
Oh, wow,
value,
so I
etc.
could then jump it.
Yeah, you can do
Okay.
that.
So you're suggesting, no, this is what I was asking for. So, in a higher rank per se, I could have jumped around this pillar and kind
Yeah.
of, just done that the whole time.
Well, right here, yeah, not necessarily like for the entirety of forever,
The
but
payload is approaching its destination.
as we're
I was
here,
more or less concerned about that third. Yeah, but go ahead. Yeah,
right,
sorry.
like right here, I'm sort of looking at this and going, okay, you've now lost your Reinhardt. You and Ball are right here. You're still right here, you and Ball. You're still right here, you and Ball. So, like, damage that's meant for you is going to Ball, or damage that's meant for Ball is going to you. You being stacked like this isn't really helping. And if Ball ever went gunner mode here and started shooting from here, he'd be shooting from the same direction as you. If you at any point had just gone hippity, hoppity, and now I'm rolling around from here, not only do you have a different angle where you're shooting these guys sort of in the side rather than from the direction that they're already looking and shooting, you also are causing to you're not sharing spam damage that's with Ball. You get what I'm saying with that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you have the ability to move them a little more. You can boop them. And if they turn and pay attention to you, well, that's great because you have this wall that you can, do a little bit of that and just sort of be like, nope, 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 not counting, not counting. You can't see me and you're not shooting them. They can't shoot you. But while that's happening, your ball is going to do more to show, hey, no, I do in fact hate Red Team more than I hate Gmail, as he has for the last minute.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Not ready.
Up the volume. I am on fire.
This will heal.
Yeah. So we probably do want to push her. You have a lot of people. Everyone is like terrified to leave cart right now, and that's a bit of a annoying. We would potentially be willing to go push her, but we'll see what you do. I'm worried that we're gonna.
Surrender to my
Oh, nice. Okay, so we have coalescence going. So we probably want what?
Speed.
You got it.
I think I was afraid because of her orbs kept coming out or whatever it is. Or
Sure,
more stuff.
sure. No, I hear you. I do. The orb by itself isn't going to take anyone down, and your Moira's probably going to be doing some healing. She'll do healing for herself because she's vampiric with her stuff, but she'll also probably do some healing, maybe not for you, but for your teammates with that ult that she's using. And now we have another ult going out. We have two different ults going out. What do these ults call for?
Call for escape.
Yeah, well, someone's gonna have to anchor the point. You can't afford someone has to just go up.
Yeah, it's over time.
Yeah, for the self-destruct. But yeah, speed to run from the self-destruct or speed to engage with the tire. Speed is still the answer. And peel, that's fine. And now we probably swap back to speed.
Oh, let's break it.
Sure. Speed, 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 speed.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
victory.
So
With the,
I think you'll probably recognize that that's the big one. Yeah. Like one of the biggest things we're going to want to recognize is when we're using an ult, speed to enhance it is generally the right answer. When the opponents are using an ult, it's generally powerful enough that speed to try to disengage from it is better than trying to heal, right?
Right.
Like if our opponents are using Tac Visor, just as an example, attack visor and it's hurting people as they're leaving. Are you going to be more likely to save them by using amp speed to try to get them behind a wall, even though they'll take some damage while they're getting behind that wall, or trying to out heal it by going, hey, I'm going to heal them until they're behind the wall?
No, speed to get them
Right.
behind the wall, right?
Right, absolutely. Self-destruct, well, you can't heal through self-destruct. Speed is going to be the right defensive answer. High noon, speed is going to be the right defensive answer. The opposing Lucio is using beat on his team that wants to brawl with you. Well, speed is probably going to be the right answer because your team's going to try to run away from the other team that has, hundreds of extra health. Now, if they're
Right.
not, if your team is foolish and goes, no, 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 we're going to fight with them, yeah, okay, fine. In that case, you can heal them. But your default for most of the time when your team uses an ult or when the other team uses an ult should be I react with speed and then maybe I change my mind based on the situation. But the instinct should be speed. And then do I amp or do I not amp becomes the question from there. You with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the first thing. That's probably the obvious thing, and I was willing to give that one to you as a gimme because we literally had just talked about it right there. What else in this review do you think you saw that you went, hey, this maybe looks like an issue? Maybe because I heard what Temporal said, maybe because you now have seen it because you went through this game and we picked out a lot of things, and you went, oh, this is a worse issue than I thought. What do you see? And don't worry, you're not going to walk out of this if you can't come up with things. I'm still going to have them for you, but if you can see them, it's even better.
Well, my decision between speed and healing when I'm wall riding and then when I'm in the air and
Mm-hmm.
escaping and getting to my teammates as far as using the speed to get there and then the healing as far as the
Mm-hmm.
transitioning. I guess some more of the positioning in the wall riding to get to places that the other team can't shoot for more poke damage and just to get better positioning. So they won't so they can spread out their fire so they
Mm-hmm.
can't focus fire more me and another teammate.
Okay.
Um
Okay.
uh and yeah, I guess that's
So those are there, definitely. Like, hey, use speed to get to teammates that you want to heal exists, and there's something to be said for, hey, you could certainly upgrade your wall riding. Everyone could upgrade their wall riding, but you could certainly upgrade your wall riding. We could actually get into your weapon play as well. I'm probably not going to go too hard into any of those though. What I'd actually start with is we talked about crossfade, and I'm probably mostly going to keep us in crossfade territory. We talked about what to do during your ults, but I would say your amps in general. The next thing that really got to me is you're too, I don't want to say random with your amps, but your amps, there is some randomness to your amps where you're just like, I'm just going to press amp, and it's probably not truly random, but you have a bunch of wrong triggers. Like, you're like, oh, I see anyone is low health, so I amp heals, or I amp heals when I'm not in range. That I'm less worried about. But I need you to just be using, let's start with this. I want you to be thinking a little more actively about your amp usage in general. I want you to be a little more focused on what am I getting out of this amp? How can I use this amp? And the first thing we need to cut is this generic amp heals for your tank stuff. Again,
mhm,
I'm not saying that can't happen, but the time that you amp heals for your tanks is when you're going to get other people too, generally, or when it's between fights and you're just trying to soak up ult charge, right?
mhm,
So I want to be more careful about the amp heal for Reinhardt, the amp heal for Ball, the amp heal for Ashe and Anna and Junkrat. Those are going to bother me less, especially if they're getting other people too. But I want to be really careful about I'm amping heals for Reinhardt, I'm amping heals for Ball, I'm amping heals for Roadhog, etc. And I want to think more about how can I use these amps. I want your amps to be less for healing tanks, and I want your amps more to be thought of as, am I using this to accomplish something? Am I healing my team? Am I getting my team to, is my team actually walking at the other team and I'm enhancing it? Am I using this amp for myself to run past a diva that's trying to retreat, to not let her get away? And by run past, I mean wall ride past. I don't mind you using an amp that's greedy, that's for you to do something rather than for your team, and I don't mind you using an amp to go, hey, I'm going to use a second, 2 seconds of this amp to get to someone, and then I'm going to swap on the last second to heal. Like those things can all be fine with me, but I do want like to actively be thinking more about our amps specifically with our crossfade. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
with you.
And do you feel like you have enough of a grasp of what I mean there? Does that feel like it's been broken down enough that you can, without having to think for like 10 seconds, be like, oh, okay, I understand what I'm working on in this game, or I understand what I need out of my amps? Does that feel simplified enough for you?
Yes, totally. Yeah, just to make sure I get the most value out of it, because I'm not going to get the most value healing tanks or when people are not in range or if you're not
Hmm.
engaged in a fight or not accomplishing a specific thing with the speed.
Sure.
And if there's not enough people, if there's not a substantial amount of people that's going to help. So yeah, I'm totally with you,
Okay.
I guess, with that. Yeah,
Okay. And then the third thing, if I were to give you three things, and three things is a lot, but if I were to give you three
sure.
things, it
Go
would
for it.
be I want a little more awareness of where your team is in general. I want a little more awareness of, hey, are your teammates in spawn? Are your teammates in range? Are your teammates in a place where you're winning the fight, you're losing the fight? Like, oh yeah, that's a good Hammond mine engage. Well, it almost is, except that you're, and I'm not calling you out or anything, except that your team actually isn't here yet. Or, oh, I'm speeding back to go take the fight. Okay, but your Reinhardt's going to be 2 seconds behind you. And if you just wait, you can actually take the fight 2 seconds earlier. Whereas if you go, you're gonna take the fight later, and they're gonna get more cart progress, things like that. Or you're in fights, and I don't mind you being in fights when you have lesser numbers than the opponents because you're very slippery as Lucio. You're less likely to get punished, though you can get punished. But I do want more awareness of where your team is. That's sort of an essential support skill. And while Lucio can, leave his team, go do things, don't get me wrong, he helps his team with his aura, and that's important. You're gonna need to start tracking your team a little more, especially as you get more into the Lucio world of like, hey, let's say that the other team is pushing. I've got my Reinhardt here. I'm playing up here. I'm shooting from up here. I'm giving my aura to Reinhardt. Oh, let me come back here, go deal with this. Now I'm giving my aura to so and so. Like, I'm gonna want you to be a little more aware of where your team is because you're sometimes in, not alone, but you're in when it's like just one or two of you in, it's two or three of you in, or you rejoin a fight, etc. So I'd say sort of tracking the fight, giving the game a little bit more structure in terms of team fights, in terms of, hey, who am I enabling with my auras right now? Which aura do they want is going to help a little bit more. I do see you do a good job of thinking about your Reinhardt when he's around, and that's good, but we're going to want to continue to expand that because, like, okay, if we can get more people with our aura, that can be worth it. Not to the point of paralyzing yourself and not having you take angles, not having you do some weapon play, get good damage in, etc. But you need to know where they are so that you can pick who to offer your support to. Like, oh, someone's on my Anna, let me hop over there and go help them out. Or, oh, it's someone's on my Reinhardt needs to move, let me go up there, move him around, etc. So just a little bit more awareness. But that's going to be the last thing I'd get to. I really think the lowest hanging fruit is going to be really responding to those ults appropriately with speed in most situations. Um, I'm not actually, yeah, responding with speed in situations, really getting your crossfades right, in terms of really putting the thought into how am I crossfading, how am I amping more generally, not just outside of ults. Ults will be the place to start. And then we'd move on to let's either track more of our teammates or we could talk about ults more. And I think we did talk about ults a fair bit, but no, I'm gonna leave that for now, I think, on now ults are gonna be easier to understand. Let's forget tracking the team for now. Just, your team doesn't matter. Forget tracking them. Let's actually go
Mhm.
back to our beats here because we really have to understand our beats, and beats are a big, valuable ult there, and we really want to make sure we're using it. when our team is engaged, or like when our team is actually there, when our team is engaged, and when it can actually protect us from something. So we don't stack it with the shatter, we use it to answer the other team shattering us. We might use it when our team, after we've shattered them, but we let a couple seconds pass, we let our Reinhardt lose a couple hundred health before we beat, sort of thing there, etc. So I know I changed my list there, but as I thought back over the gameplay, that was more important, because we really do want to get some value out of that ult, in general, more so than we did with your beats here. We've got to make sure we're hitting people with it, etc. So with that in mind, do you have questions about any of those, or questions about anything else? Anything you'd like to get into?
I don't know. Everything's been clear, especially that last portion of it. I still receive all that stuff, even though you backtracked and everything. But it's
Okay.
straightforward and makes sense. And yeah, can't wait to try it out and put it into practice. Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Then I'll go ahead and call it